Just when you think you know me, I already told you there's so much more to me. I said I'm trying to give you all of me.
What's up? What's up? What's up? Happy Tuesday. Welcome to a new mini episode of Unspoken Truth Podcast. I'm your host, Tanise. Welcome. If you've never had the opportunity to check in on my show, I appreciate you taking the time out. For my forever followers, I have to start the episode off with apologizing for not doing either episode last week, which brings me to today's topic. Hey, life be life. Your health really is important. So I'm hoping that somebody gains some insight and some help with the issues that I've been struggling with majority of my life. Okay. So now that I got that out the way, today's topic is endometriosis. I know that's a tough word. I'm gonna start off when I do episodes like this on a specific topic. I like to get a definition so we got a base, so we know what we're talking about. Okay. Um, so I'm gonna start there. Let me make sure my volume is all the way up so everybody could hear me. Custom made. How are you? BZ78. Happy Tuesday. Rich rising to y'all. Okay, let's get down to it. Because I'm on a tight schedule today. All right. So, all right, let me give the definition first so we can start the discussion. Okay. So, endometriosis, a chronic condition where tissue similar to the lining of the uterus grows outside of the uterus, causing pelvic pain, painful periods, and potential fertility challenges. Okay. Jayla, how are you? Keith, how are you? So this episode is mainly going to be geared towards feminine health and feminine challenges. Okay, so for the men that's here, tune in, man, because this is something that you may need to learn. Whether you got a daughter, a wife, a girlfriend, sisters, whatever. A lot of us deal with this particular thing in silence. All right, so let's get down to it. Symptoms. Some of the symptoms. Now, mind you, I am a woman who started my cycle very early, anywhere between 10 and 12 years old. Okay. When I did start my cycle, it was severe from the beginning. Okay. There has not ever been a time in my life where it wasn't bad. All right. We talking sixth grade. I'm doubled over because I cannot handle the pain that's associated with my monthly cycle. Cuz, how are you, DB? I'm so glad you could join. I really, really hope that you get something from today's conversation, because we talked offline. So I'm hoping you get something from it. Okay, so one of the symptoms, severe menstrual cramps. And that's what I'm discussing right now at an early age, sixth grade, doubled over. What do I mean by that? I can't stand up straight. I can't function. I can't go through my daily schedule at school because the pain is so excruciating. All right. Now, I'm young dealing with this. All right. And I also was living with my dad at the time. So that was even more stressful because I'm living with a man and he has no idea what I'm dealing with. Okay. So let's get back into some more symptoms. Chronic pelvic pain, lower back and abdominal aches, pain during and after sex, discomfort during bowel movements and urination. I've even seen it be so severe, the pain, that it makes you nauseous and vomit. Okay. Those are just to give you a little insight on what somebody like me who has been diagnosed with endometriosis as of 2018 go through. And no, this is not something that happens every single month. Um, it's weird because there are a lot of triggers. I want to jump right into that so we can talk about the triggers because these are things that I had to learn. Now, mind you, from sixth grade, where I said I started my monthly cycle, all the way up until 2018, I just dealt with the pain. because it seemed normal to me. I had not heard of anything like endometriosis or having a name for the pain. I just kind of dealt with it because it was a normalcy for me. Going through that in elementary school all the way up until you a grown woman with children, that's a long time to deal with severe pain like that. But I had no idea. Nobody was telling me. Okay, Trucker, how are you? Kurt, how are you? Auntie Debbie, how you doing? Rich Rising. Mr. Kinsman County, how are you? Rich Rising to y'all. So triggers. Triggers can be certain food. Um, Triggers can be hormonal imbalance, which a lot of us women have high cortisol levels. That's also something else that I want to make sure that we cover while we having this discussion. Cortisol levels are the imbalance of your hormones. Okay. Um, Examples of that: facial hair, excessive sweating, um, feeling like you having hot flashes. Some of this stuff mimics premenopause, menopause, but just hear me out, okay? Because some of these things that I'm talking about could very well walk into your season of premenopause or menopause. You also could have a very low immune system that is causing things to be imbalanced. So the bottom line is what I had to learn is first let me discuss some of the things that they try to tell you can help you. Because I even went so far as to find out if there's a cure for this. Now, mind you, I've known for at least 8 years now that's been my diagnosis. Okay. Google says there is no cure. But I want you to know that most of the things that plague us every day, as far as health wise, there is something on the other side. So I'm not never gonna allow nobody to tell me that there is no way around it. There's no preventative measures. There's no ending to it because I feel like if you change your diet, if you change some of the environments you're in, if you change some of the things that you use on a daily basis, because those are things that I had to take into consideration if I wanted to feel better. So one of the things I started doing, and no, this really don't have much to do with the female anatomy, but it plays a role in different things that's blocked as far as your lymphatic system is concerned. Okay. The first thing I stopped doing is using basic regular fluoride toothpaste. That was the first step. I removed it from my everyday living. I started making my own toothpaste. The next thing I started doing was paying attention to the different laundry soaps and stuff that I'm using. Because a majority of the things that's harming and hindering us health wise is tied into the stuff that we use on a daily basis. So I started using stuff that didn't have dyes and different forever chemicals and toxins and stuff like that. I reduced some of that, started using a laundry detergent that didn't have those things in it. And I'll make sure I list some of the ways that you can find this information, okay? Or even purchase for yourself, all right? One of the next things I did is last January, I started no meat, none. No seafood, no beef, absolutely no pork, no chicken. I decided I was going to change my whole routine. I was not going to indulge in certain things. No dairy. I don't know how most melanated people are, but I am severely lactose intolerant. When I say severe, I mean no ice cream, no cheese, definitely no milk, things that have a milk base to them, ranch, different stuff like that. I had to leave all of that stuff alone because it was causing severe pain. It was causing me to feel like I did in the sixth grade with the pain. Now let's talk about some of the things that they told me could be done to help me with the pain. I had a procedure called a laparoscopy procedure, which is a small surgery, in and out patient surgery. Okay, so this is following my diagnosis with the endometriosis. I went into surgery. What they do is they make a small incision at your pelvic area. They put in a small little camera. They laser off some of the lesions. Now, the lesions are what they said is lining. It's a tissue. Okay. Instead of it coming out during your monthly cycle, it attracts itself. It sticks to different organs. Now, when I first found out that this is what I was gonna be diagnosed with, the only thing information I had was it affecting the womb. But I've later found out through doing my own research and following people who have the same symptoms, diagnosis as me, and learning more about the body. It does not just affect the feminine organs. It can attach itself to your colon, your liver, your kidneys, your digestive tract, your bowels. It can attach itself to any of your organs. Okay. So I just want to put that out there. This is not to scare you, but just to make you aware that it's not just something that can affect your womb, your uterus, your cervix. No, it can actually start affecting other organs in your body. So, diagnosis and management is another thing I want to discuss. How I found out is I just kept having really bad cycles for, I don't know, anywhere between 6 months and a year before my physician was like, okay, wait a minute, something is not right. So the first step was them clipping a piece of my cervix. Yes, ouch. It did not feel good. But I needed to find out what was going on with me. I wanted to make sure and rule out any kind of cancer or anything like that. So they clipped a piece of my cervix, sent it to the lab, did an exam on it, and that was how I got the diagnosis. You can also be diagnosed through ultrasounds, MRIs, and the surgery that I told you about is after they diagnosed you, and that's called a laparoscopy surgery. Okay. Um, Other things that you could do for pain management: ibuprofen, Aleve, Tylenol, over the counter stuff. Because I'm gonna tell you, as long as I dealt with the pain, as many years as I dealt with the pain, I have been probably popping Tylenols, ibuprofen, Aleve, Midol, anything that they sell for that kind of pain management. I've had it. Okay. What happens is over time, the more you consume these type of things, the less the body even has a response or a reaction to it. So what do I mean by that? I mean that over time, the medicine is not going to work no more. Okay. Because your body builds an immunity towards it. The more you take it, the more you ingesting it, the more pills you taking, popping, whatever, your body gonna eventually, it's not, it ain't gonna do nothing. And that's what started happening to me. um I would find myself taking 3, 4, 5, 6 different pills just to manage throughout the day. That is extremely excessive. I am not telling nobody to do that, but I'm simply saying when you're in pain and you tried everything else, teas, heating pads, walking, exercising, believe me, I've done it. I've done just about everything you could think of to try to curb some of the pain and some of the symptoms and find ways to help myself. I've done it. But I'm telling you, after a certain length of time of going through that much pain, for that length of time that I've went through it, eventually your body started to wear down. So that's what happened last week. Why I just could not function. It was bad. And it's been a while since it's been that severe, to the point where I can't walk, I can't get out the bed, I can barely consume any food because the pain is so severe that if I eat anything while I'm experiencing that level of pain, that it will make me nauseous. And no, I've not had pain as severe as that to the point where I'm vomiting, but I've came very close many times. Okay. Which brings me to my daughter. Has not been diagnosed, but absolutely has dealt with very severe pain when it comes to her monthly menstrual cycle. So much so that she's been hospitalized numerous times. Um, she has gotten sick to the point where she's had to have IV fluids and be put on something to stop the nausea. And I just truly believe that it is absolutely a form of endometriosis. Okay. It may not mimic exactly what I'm going through as her mother, but some of the things that she deal with is still under the umbrella of endometriosis. Okay. Um, I wanted to make sure that I took the time out just so I could make people aware. A lot of women, we deal with stuff in silence. We don't say nothing because we just feel like it's just something a woman have to deal with. I absolutely want to encourage every woman out here who may be struggling with their monthly cycles, may not even have seen a doctor or physician for it. Go see the doctor. Go get yourself checked out because this is not no joke. I've had family members that have had to have parts of their anatomy removed due to the lesions and the tissue that endometriosis creates over time. And so here's some things that you could start out as far as where do I start? Because some people just don't get themselves checked out because they don't know where to start, where to begin. The first things first is find out what your blood type is. Okay. I know they don't want you to know that information, but I'm telling you, it's going to be helpful and beneficial to you knowing that. Why? Because, on the contrary of what society and most people believe, your blood type is going to determine what foods you can and cannot have. Yes, I said that. It's going to determine what stuff you can take, ingest, eat, and allow inside of your body. So that's going to be your first step. I need to know what my blood type is. That's extremely important. I know it to be important because that's what I had to do for my child in order for me to try to help her. Stay away from the things that trigger. Remember, I just talked about different triggers: foods, your environment, hormone imbalance, your immune system being low. All of these things go hand in hand. Finding out your blood type is going to help you eliminate and stay away from the things that's going to trigger you to have this excessive pain. The next step is for you to perhaps have a piece of your cervix clipped off and sent to the lab so that they can do whatever exams or testing that they need to do. Because the worst possible case scenario is not endometriosis, but it's something more severe like cervical cancer, HPV, because those things absolutely can happen as well. Okay, so you want to make sure you being your best advocate as far as your health. Now, once you do those two things, and you may get a diagnosis, you may not get a diagnosis. I want you to start thinking about changing the things you consume on a daily basis: fried food, processed food, sugar, starch, bread, pasta, and those are all things that I absolutely love. Okay, I love me some pasta. I do. But there is something about the heavy starch that comes from a rice or a pasta or a bread that literally causes excessive bloating and painful periods. So I went 11 months no meat. Okay. Thanksgiving got me, by the way. I just want to put that out there. I'm still human. And so it is possible for you to fall short of the goals you set for yourself. But I went 11 months, no meat. People said, you crazy. Why would you do that? You need meat. It's got this and it's got that in it. See, that's what we've been told. But I want you to know that your mouth is not meant for you to be consuming meat. Our teeth is not made for us to be consuming meat. We are not originally carnivores. Okay? We are herbivores. Most of the things that we consumed before we started being so codependent on the world producing our food, it was herbs, it was fruits, it was vegetables, it was grains. That was it. It was no meat. And I know most people find that hard to believe, but it's the truth. And this is how a lot of us stayed away from sickness, because we were consuming the natural things that we either grew on our own or found a local farmer or something in our communities. But trust me, it helped me out a lot. It gave me a boost of energy. It cleared up my skin. Um, it absolutely helped with parasites. I want y'all to know that a majority of the things that plague our bodies, that cause us pain, that send us through all of these health issues, majority, not every last one, but a majority of them is rooted in parasites. Okay? They're not going to tell you that. I know. I'm telling you that because all of us got parasites. You could have gotten it from walking around barefoot. You could have gotten it from your fruits. Look at all the stuff they telling us right now not to consume because it's gonna cause this and it's gonna cause that. Parasites. That's what's doing it. It's not just what we consuming; it's what's inside of what we consuming. Anything that's grown from the earth is possibly gonna have a parasite in it of some kind. I know it's gross. It is, but these are just facts. So you're going to have to be more aware. You're going to need to clean your produce. Stop just chomping down on stuff you ain't cleaned it. And I'm not just talking about water. Please, for the love of God, stop thinking that the water that's tainted too is cleaning your produce, because it's not. You need to get you a fruit and vegetable cleaner. They sell them. It don't cost that much, a couple dollars. And if you don't want to do that, you get you some baking soda. Please, for the love of God, stop mixing baking soda and vinegar. Stop doing that. It's not cleaning your produce. Pick one or the other, okay? But mixing them together, it's not cleaning your produce. What it's doing is creating an acidic base for whatever it is you're trying to clean, okay? So those are just a few little tips I thought I'd throw out there. All right. I know most people don't want to switch their diets because they feel like going natural or vegan and let's be clear, that's not being a vegan, because vegans still consume some form of meat. Okay. Get you some substitutes. For example, tacos. What are they made with? Ground beef. Well, I'm not eating meat, so do that mean I can't have tacos? Absolutely not. What did I use in substitution for the ground beef? Walnuts, pecans. Yeah, you heard me. Crush them up, put them in your pan, saute them, season them the same way you would do your ground beef. You don't believe me? My 5-year-old great niece, I'm talking about going to town, I made tacos. Everybody else had ground beef, but I had pecans and walnuts as a substitute. When I tell you that this 5-year-old was going to town on these tacos, had multiple tacos, never once did she question whether or not what she was consuming was ground beef or something else. So, see, it really is all in your mind. It's what you've been told versus what's the truth. Flavor means everything. Okay? So if you can get to a space where you can remove this thin little film layer that coats our tongue, because that's what's controlling whether or not you're going to eat something or not. And it still was created by all the parasitic, processed, acidy foods that we eat every day. You got to remove that. in order for your taste buds to actually work properly. The funny thing is, the stuff that's good for us is the stuff that we don't like. Oh, it don't taste right. But the stuff that ain't no good for us, we ain't got no problem. I mean, chowing it down. You're gonna have to allow your mind to be in control and not your insides, your flesh. Because it'll have you eating all type of stuff that ain't no good for you. Okay. Another thing that I removed, sugar. Yes, I was a Kool-Aid kid too. Okay. I know. But in my house, I can tell you the last time a pack of Kool-Aid or some white granulated sugar has been present. Years. Okay. For real. Years. Because what people don't understand is most of the foods that we consume got sugar in it. And it may not be labeled on there at all, but you're still consuming it. So I went from a white sugar down to a cane sugar, and it's a process because sugar is a foreign substance to the body. We This country is the only place that's still selling it, consuming it, allowing it. Okay, it's a reason for that because the body don't recognize it. It's going to look at it as fat. Hence, how a lot of people have insulin resistant systems because the sugar has turned into fat. Now you got this pudgy pouch in the front. Now you got this excess fat up under your arms. Now you got cellulite everywhere. It's all embedded in the stuff that we ain't supposed to be eating anyway, the sugar. But you got to start somewhere. And you can't just cold turkey because sugar is worse than drugs. I don't know if nobody told y'all that, but it absolutely is worse than drugs. When it comes to you removing it from your body, it has to be at a slow pace. You literally have to wing yourself off of it, or the body gonna start crashing out. So hopefully I gave somebody something that they could use. Again, Tuesdays is a mini episode. I got to get my son to work, and I got a few other errands to run today. I don't know who needed to get what from what, but if you ever have any questions about this particular thing right here, message me. I have no problem giving you the resources, the information, the knowledge, the wisdom that I've gained over the last 8 years of knowing that it has a name. Okay? It's not a life or death sentence. Okay? It's not. But if you make the necessary changes, you will find relief. There is light at the end of the tunnel, but you got to do the work. I know people would hate to hear, "Oh, I got to do the work. I don't want to." You have to do the work if you want to feel better. So I said all that to say I'm about to embark on my journey again. No meat. And yes, it's going to be rough at first because I've allowed myself to consume meat from November until now. So that's about maybe 10 months, somewhere up in there, 9 months. That's a long time. Okay. I didn't expect to allow myself to go this long, but I did. But what I can say is when I was not consuming meat, I did not have as painful cycles as I'm currently having now that I'm 9 months in back eating meat. So that's just something for you to consider. I also want you to do your homework. Look into it. Most of us struggle with painful cycles, monthly cycles, because of the meat consumption. Are you really shocked and amazed that you bleed just like the animal that you consume? Well, I just wanted to give y'all something to think about, um, a place to start so that we can start taking better care of ourselves, start being healthier women, get some control over our wombs, okay? Because they need our help. We've consumed a lot of things: drugs, bad food, alcohol, Some of us bad partners. All of it is going to play a role in whether or not your womb is healthy or not. I don't know who I was supposed to help, but I hope I helped somebody. I love you guys. Friday, make sure y'all meet me back here 8 p.m. New episode of Unspoken Truth Podcast. Until then, I'm your host, Denise. I love y'all. You was on your lunch break at work. Hey, man, get back to work. Time to get back on the clock. Punch back in. If you didn't get a chance to watch the entire episode, go follow me, man. Go follow me on YouTube and Facebook. I'm going to put it right here in the chat real quick before I log off. And Facebook. So y'all can get a recap of the episode, okay? And it's going to be 60 seconds pinned to my live. Now let me get y'all some to go music, all right?
There's more than what meets the eye. See, oh, if you wanna get deep, if you really wanna know me, you gotta come with me. Unspoken truth, oh, it's deeper than you.
Mm, mm, mm.
Unspoken truth of my heart. Mm-mm. The unspoken truth. Oh, it's deeper than you. The unspoken truth of my heart. Oh, the unspoken truth.
All right, countdown. Man, I appreciate everybody that tapped in, chimed in, commented, followed. Make sure y'all meet me here on Friday. I'll see y'all Friday, 8 p.m. I'm out of here.